everything was going really smoothly at our last Client Attraction Summit until something totally unexpected and scary happened right in the middle of our event. It took everything in us to remain calm and focused, but we emerged with a newfound trust in ourselves, in our team, and in our ability to handle even the scariest of situations. And we got a profound insight about transformational leadership that we want to share with you. We hope you enjoy this special episode of Thrive Academy TV. This clip comes from the recording of an episode of our soon-to-be-launched podcast, Thrive Behind the Scenes. All right, well, welcome to episode 2 of Thrive Behind the Scenes. Today, we promised we would talk about a really scary thing that happened at one of our events that was scary for lots of reasons. So, you want to share, Jess?
Yeah, so the context is at the Client Attraction Summit. There's about 115 people at the event. It's going really well. The Client Attraction Summit is a place where we spend 3 days giving some really deep, profound content and some practical exercises, all designed to help people attract more clients. And it's also the place where we invite people to join us in our year-long or 18-month program.
Right. And we're pretty transparent about that when we share about the summit, that we do let people know that we're going to give you tons of value. It's about 90% content to help you attract more clients. And then we spend about 10% of the time inviting you to take the next step with us. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But we're pretty transparent about that.
Yeah, there's no pressure. And people learn a lot from, watching how we invite people to join us into the next level. So it's an event that we've had about 9,000 people attend from 29 different countries, 6 continents, and we've really refined it over the years. We've led it
82 times?
2 times, I think.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
81 or 82?
Yeah, a lot.
Many times.
We got it down.
We got it down. I mean, but we keep refining it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. But it's good.
It's really good.
It's a really phenomenal experience. Yeah. I'm so proud of, and I say we, and not just you and me. I mean, we, like the Thrive team, the assistants who are Thrivers coming. It's an awesome experience.
Yeah. So what we're here to talk about is this last Client Attraction Summit. It was Saturday afternoon, and I was doing what I always do because I'm an ambivert, I think, half extrovert, half introvert. So when you're on stage, I typically go into my room and I get body work from Peter Michael, who's drives.
Mr. Miyagi of body work.
He drives in from LA. He's been doing it for the last 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
He's now 75.
Oh my gosh.
And so he
keeps you together.
he keeps me going.
Right.
During the event. So he's giving me body work and I'm relaxed and, just kind of blissing out about how smooth and graceful.
Oh, it's such a sweet group.
The event was going to go and was going, and how smooth and graceful the event was going, and just what a sweet group it was, and how much I was just enjoying the whole experience.
And I was on stage at that time. And one of the things we do on Saturdays, we bring up examples of people who have used the principles that we've taught at the summit. And we have them come and share their story about how things were when they were sitting at the Client Attraction Summit, and then the things they put into practice. They're members of ours, and what changed for them and how things are now. And so they get to share their success stories. And it's always really inspiring. I love hearing their stories. And I think it kind of blows people away at the level of success that people can achieve using the things that we've taught. So there we are.
Yeah.
And
I know the exact time because I looked at my phone. 3:55, I get a call from Carol Daly. Yeah. And she's our production supervisor. She's been our production supervisor for about 12 years now. And I got instantly nervous because usually Carol texts me throughout the weekend if there's something going on. But usually when she calls, it's usually not good news. And so she called me and she said, immediately, I'm, on the verge of, she said, I'm going to try not to cry, but something just happened at the event. And immediately I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And you were there.
I was there. Yeah. So we had been there, 6 people on stage, and we were
sitting on chairs,
and our 6th person was just starting. One of the women, the third woman to share, her name is Sarah, and she's extraordinary. She's a spiritual healer, energy worker, mentor, just incredible person. And she told her story about how things were happening for her and just everything was going really well. And she's 7 months pregnant, which I actually didn't find out until she showed up at lunch right before. And so Brenda Matheson, who was our last person on the panel to go, also a really beautiful human being I love so much, and just incredible at the work that she does. And she started to share, and she was in the middle of just at the start of her share, and suddenly Sarah is on the ground. I see her fall out of her chair, land on the stage, face down. She passed out. I immediately jumped to...
and Sarah's...
She's
7 months...
7 months pregnant. She falls on her belly, 7 months pregnant.
Yeah.
And I immediately get down, and I feel blessed because I have that thing where I'm pretty good in emergency situations. I don't freak out. And I just got down there. She rolled over. It was about 30 seconds. Somebody yelled, call 911. The whole room, just dead silence. And it was about 30 seconds. Her eyes started fluttering, and she woke up. And I was like, are you okay? She said, I'm okay. And, we got her up. Fortunately, Dr. Abiola Oladoke was there as well, who's a functional medicine practitioner, a really brilliant practitioner. She was on the panel. And I asked Abiola to escort Sarah out of the room and run some diagnostics on her. And we called the paramedics and all of that. And so that's when you got the call. And while you were on your way over, I kind of am like, wow, what happened? I kind of don't remember, because I just go into the zone when there's an emergency.
Well, I heard from the team that, everyone was holding space, and then we sent her some healing energy whooshes. As soon as I got the call from Carol, I immediately got dressed and went, hustled straight over to see whether I could support in any way. And Sarah had already left the room.
Right.
I checked in with team. Paramedics had already arrived.
They were with her.
So quickly.
Yeah. I remember just hand on my heart, breathing with the group, really sending her a lot of loving energy and just really slowing down, and which is not my normal way. I'm go fast. I got a lot going on.
Yeah.
But I do also know how to completely drop in and, when necessary. And I just remember really a lot of slow breathing, just really being with everybody and really just connecting with the group and making that really, really important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's the other thing. So I was worried about Sarah and her baby. And I could tell a lot of people in the room, there were women crying. I could tell there was a lot going on.
A lot of emotion.
And here's the thing that came up for me. And I felt so ashamed when this came up for me. As a matter of fact, I had to go back and talk to one of my dear friends who's on the team, Lucia, about it. I had this thought of oh my God, the next thing to happen is when we extend the invitation for people to work with us. And this is gonna, I would, because this is how it's how we feed our team, our family, how we pay our team, how we feed our family. These events, we do 3 a year, and this is where most of our clients come from. So I had this massive wave of fear running through me, just it kind of ran through me like a bunch of energy. And then I felt I felt shame for feeling that, for feeling afraid of if the summit didn't go well, what was going to happen, But I let that go and I breathed, and then I asked the group. Brenda was in the middle of her share. We sent a healing wish, and we did a little shake off, a trauma, shake off the trauma kind of thing.
And I just want to say that, that's part of being a leader. That's part of why we're doing this podcast, is because I'm 100% sure that nobody felt that coming through. And so that's why I think it's so important that we talk about like the behind the scenes, because what people saw, and because I met with the whole team that evening, as I always do, and everyone on the team, like one woman was in tears sharing how inspired she was by how you handled the situation, and just how lucky I was to have you as a partner. So that was really beautiful. But I think it's also important to know that, just because we can show up as leaders, for the situation doesn't mean that there's not other fears.
We're humans. Shit's going on.
Yeah.
And most of the time I'm really just in a space when I'm on stage where I'm just totally holding the room. I'm so of service. It's even funny, like when we're at events, I don't connect that much with you in the room because I'm like, I'm working. I'm here to be of service to the team and to everybody who's here. It's, we get our time. And that's usually my way of being on stage. And I'm just there to like have fun and teach and share and love and all of that. And it was a really like, I felt, I had this judgment of like I was being selfish for having that thought. Like I felt like it was really intense. It was very brief, but it was really intense. But then just in the state of like feeling into what was going into the room, we had actually by that time, I think I'd gotten news that Sarah was okay and that baby was okay.
So when did you talk with Lucia? Like
after,
okay.
Because I was like, I had all this stuff going on. I just need to talk to somebody about it because she's like one of my like dear like circle sisters. Like,
but so now let's go back into.
Let's go back. So I'm in it.
So and you're on stage.
I'm on stage. I'm feeling into the room. And
Sarah's left the room.
Right, and I think we've gotten a report by then that Sarah's okay. Paramedics said Sarah's okay.
Right.
And baby's heart rate is elevated a little bit, but we think everything's okay.
Right. And then Brenda still hadn't shared. She was in the middle of her share.
Right.
And so now what do you do?
Yeah.
Like,
so
do you as a leader, do you do you
keep going?
Keep going?
Right.
Do you stop and process the room? So I think
I felt like I had processed the room.
Because that was 10, 15, 20 minutes of
Was it? It felt like it was not very long to me. But sometimes when we're in the moment, it doesn't feel that way.
So it was a while.
It was a while. So I asked the group,
right,
would you like to hear the rest of Brenda's story?
Mm-hmm.
And they had a resounding yes. So I was like, okay. So Brenda started sharing.
And that's when I came in.
That's when you walked in the room.
I walked in and Brenda's sharing her, kind of completing the journey of her own, what she had to overcome to have the success and all the fears and, gremlins and, negative beliefs that came up that were preventing her from having success, and how, she kind of broke through those through going through our programs and is now having some pretty massive success.
Yeah.
So that's when you and I
got to talk for a moment.
Checked in.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, so what do we do? And
because we were about to extend the invitation, right? Like after the break was when we extend the invitation.
That's when we always do, because it's Saturday. We want to give people a chance to think about it overnight, talk to partners. We didn't want to just spring it on them, the invitation to join us for a year, 18 months, spring it on them Sunday morning. So this
is the dilemma.
Yeah.
That there was this big thing that happened. We didn't know for sure yet if Sarah's baby was okay.
We had heard that things had calmed down.
Right. And she was relaxing in the back room.
Right.
She had friends there. The paramedics had come and gone by that point. Her husband is a first responder sheriff in Monterey County. And so he was on his way.
Yeah.
So all these
things were starting to look good. Brenda's sharing. You and I had a little conference. You invited me on stage after Brenda shared. And then I just shared a few things. I don't even remember. I just felt like I was channeling something. I remember talking about how confusing it might be to be hearing all these stories of success while also dealing with the fragility of life and how everything could be fine 1 second and the next second, this woman who's pregnant with a baby is, face forward on the stage. And so I just said, that might be a lot to process. gave them some support around, conversations they could have during the break. And we sent them off to break.
Yeah, we did.
So then we're faced with the decision of, do we invite them to do the next step? And
the whole team was coming up just like, are we gonna do it?
Like, are we doing this?
Like, are we doing this, or is this gonna change now because of what just happened?
Because of what just happened. And so, the first thing, in making that decision, I went over, the paramedics left, so I was able to go in and talk with Sarah. And Sarah had 3 friends who she had invited to come to this event, so they were there with her. Dr. Abiola was with her, and there were a couple of our team members guarding the door to make sure people didn't go in, to make sure that it was nice and quiet. And so there was a lot going on, but our team members let me pass. So I walked in, and Sarah immediately popped up to give me a hug, and I was like, no, sit down. And she's like, I'm fine. I'm really fine.
She's kind of a badass. So she was like, can you just stop treating me like, I'm all right, you know?
So, the main thing I was concerned about was, is she okay? And, it was just so clear that she was. And then as I was about to hug her and say goodbye and go back to kind of figure out what we're doing next, it kind of, this idea came to me, which is, the group knows, because we mentioned, we shared that, that she was going to be okay, that the paramedics had checked her out, and that she was fine. But I could tell that the group was not settled.
They needed that completion.
They needed to see her. And so I invited her to come back into the room, and which she agreed to. And so when we started after the break, we brought her into the room, and she was smiling, and she's like, "Hi, sorry I freaked you guys out." And it was just a really beautiful sort of full circle completion of the whole thing.
Right, and she shared about what her experience was, because she's a super, super highly empathic person, and she. We found out later that Brenda was actually calling the energy to the stage as she started speaking. And Sarah was feeling this heat rising up in her body, like really, really quickly. So she closed her eyes to just ground herself for a moment, but the energy rose too fast. So she just had all of this energy coming at her. And then that was what, the next thing she knew, she short-circuited. Yeah. And she said, she came back and she was like, I'm used to leaving my body. It's no big deal. But we were all like, okay.
Yeah, she's a total badass.
Seriously.
And, she's had a lot of success in her business because of her ability to receive energy and then to channel it forth. But,
right. And she told us later that her spiritual mentor, said what did the baby say to her? Do you remember? There was something about the baby communicating to her about afterwards about this being experienced. She's really in tune with the baby, and everything's fine, and we're all fine. But we did. What did we decide to do?
Yeah, so it was a decision as to whether we make the invitation, and I think this becomes a good leadership sort of learning moment of, if you're inviting someone to join you in your practice, coaching practice, holistic practice, become a client of any kind, I think it's really important to kind of notice the state that your potential client is in, and to not offer or to not extend the invitation when they're in a traumatized or disturbed state, on the one hand. On the other hand, if you wait into the perfect scenario, oftentimes you can end up waiting.
You can miss it.
You can miss the opportunity. And
it's kind of like if you ever, we watch movies and we there's that moment when the kiss should happen. And sometimes in the movies it does.
Right.
And sometimes it doesn't, and it's awkward, and that opportunity was missed.
It was right there.
And you're like, no, you're chickened out.
Right.
Don't do that.
And so that was sort of the balance of what we were facing. We didn't want to have to make the invitation the next day,
right,
because
it just doesn't give people enough time to really sleep on it.
It's not respectful in a lot of ways. We used to do that back in the day, but we're like, we always have to give them at least a night to think about it. At the same time, we certainly didn't want to invite people to join us in this sort of life-changing program when they're just processing and sort of traumatized by what they had just seen. Yeah. So, so basically, I made a pact with myself that I wasn't going to, because I'm the one who makes the invitation. I wasn't going to do it unless I really felt like they could receive it. And so if that meant processing it, what happened with Sarah for 5 minutes or an hour, whatever it took, so that they felt healed and resolved and empowered before I made that invitation. And so I just kind of put it into the hands of the universe of however you want this to go. I'm just not gonna force it, which I've seen some leaders do. And on the other hand, I'm not gonna just be like, totally wimp out. Right. I was gonna listen to what would serve the group the most. And so, I noticed that as soon as Sarah came in, she was all bubbly and happy. It was like the whole group just sort of exhaled. And I was like, all right, we could process this more, but it just felt so complete that I basically started the invitation by, just reaffirming just how fragile and precious this life is. And so, we're all going to die, we're all going to get hurt, but the question is, are we going to live? And are we going to have the courage to, pursue our dreams and to not give up on what we came to this planet to do? And if we are, to make sure that we have the support that we need in order to, maximize our potential. And so that's how it kind of led into the invitation. And I think it was received really well. And, the feedback from our team, who talked to so many of the different participants, was that the way that not just you, not just me, but our whole team handled this situation, could have broken trust. But gratefully, we have such an amazing team that just responded with such beautiful support that I think we're able to, build even more trust as a result of us all going through this really difficult situation together. So I was super grateful that she was, okay, that it wasn't.
Yeah, like what would we have done if she wasn't okay?
Yeah.
And that we don't know.
We don't know.
We have never had a situation like that where something has happened that has completely had to stop the event.
Yeah, and we've been fortunate to have thousands of people join our programs from the Client Attraction Summits, these 80, 1 or 82 summits that we've led. Most of our members, like 99% of them, come in from the summit. We've had some summits that have been mind-blowing in terms of the number of people who have joined us, and others that have felt like complete disasters. And we wanted to tear our hair out and wanted to give up. But the thing that I've learned through all of it is that we've always been okay. Whether sales were amazing or sales were horrible, the universe has always calibrated to support us. And so, it was in that knowing that we live in a friendly universe that's for us and never against us, and that the universe wants us to be successful, because when we're successful, more people, get support. And through the coaches and holistic practitioners that we support, that
there's healing happening in this
healing
world.
Happens, it ripples out. And so I truly believe that we're blessed, and that the universe wants us to be successful. And so it was with that knowing that I felt calm in making the decision of whether to make the invitation or not. That the knowing that even if we didn't offer any programs during that summit, that we would have been okay, that the universe would have found a way to make sure that all needs were met, that our entire team, got paid. And, every single team member over the last, we've had lots of ups and downs, and every single team member, no matter what happened, has always been paid. And so, it's resting in that knowledge that allowed me to kind of step into this place of, all right, how can we be of the greatest service? So.
Yeah. Big scary thing that turned
Big scary
out okay.
thing. Yeah.
Well,
And so thank you, so grateful that Sarah's okay. And also, every day, people get hurt, people die. And so, I want to leave everyone here listening with that inquiry of, we're all going to die, we're all going to get hurt, but, are we going to live? Are we going to live with courage? Are we going to take, when the universe is calling us to step up and make an invitation to, to a potential client to join us or to lead a workshop or to take a risk? Not everyone takes those risks, but it's the people who are the most successful who do. And it's not just this black and white, red or green. Like, you always have to take risks. It's not always that. But it's also not this, oh, that person got hurt or that person looked at me the wrong way or, so therefore I'm not going to take any risks. It's like listening to, is this the time to take the risk? And if it is, then having the courage to do so.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that profound insight from that experience. It was a crazy experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I too am so grateful that everybody's okay and everything went well. And I want to thank you all for listening to today's episode.
Yep.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm liking this. This is fun.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
Let's do it again.
All right.
All right.
If you liked this video, please let us know in the comments below. Subscribe and ring that bell to get notifications about all of our videos. The Client Attraction Summit is coming soon. Claim your full scholarship now at clientattractionsummit.com. Welcome to episode 2 of Thrive Behind the Scenes. And today we are going to talk about something scary. What? No, we're not going to talk about anything.